about 6%. Let's welcome Mayuresh Joshi, Head of Equity Research at William O'Neill, on the show now. Mayuresh, afternoon, and thanks so much for joining in. Is Tata Communication a stock that you like and or a stock that you avoid? And if you could tell us what your thesis is.
Afternoon, Rima. No, absolutely. I think a majority chunk of the business comes in from the data part. And the expectation is that the execution, at least on the top line, as you rightly mentioned, should probably continue. The kind of increases that you've seen in the past few quarters, specifically when it comes to the OPEX part, I think that remains pretty elevated. And therefore, I think the margin compression might be something which might still continue as far as this quarter's numbers are concerned. The third element, obviously, is the kind of capex plans that they have got. And obviously, I think the data center business also is something where I think the management comments are going to be extremely critical going forward in terms of revenue visibility. Last but not the least, I think what probably happens in terms of management commentary, specifically in the key markets that they are probably serving at this point of time. So we do not foresee any kind of slowdown, specifically when it comes to discretionary spending on the data side of the business, even from a global level. I think there might be some uncertainties in terms of some pushback of orders that can probably happen in terms of the order book, specifically the export order book. Therefore, I think maintaining a neutral view at this point of time, keenly look at numbers, specifically the commentary on all these aspects as mentioned.
Okay, got that. By the way, Zomato was in the news today as well. Mangalam was telling us earlier that with respect to Blinkit, there's a small change in the payout structure to delivery partners. Stock's still up about 2% thereabouts. Mayuresh, hi, afternoon. Any interest in Zomato? You're not talking about ordering food, but ordering the stock for your portfolio, if at all?
No, I think it's really going to be a matter in terms of how they're probably expected to post numbers. And largely numbers will do all the talking for all these stocks under consideration. Yes, we've been hearing a lot of news elements in terms of a lot of layoffs that have probably happened, which is impacting a lot of their deliveries. And it's not just Zomato, I think it's for the entire food delivery business chain itself. And therefore, I think we probably foresee that from an earnings perspective and from a strong earnings quadrant perspective, looking at numbers, again, where the consensus probably is very uniform, capital goods, infra, certain auto ancillaries, they might be pockets to probably look at. So no, I think not really having the optimistic columns of Zomato, at least at this point.
Okay, all right. And I think, besides the other news flows, we'll be waiting for the shareholding pattern of Zomato to come out. Some buzz that maybe there could be some problem names that turn up. So let's see whether or not that does happen. By the way, we're getting the Q4 update coming from Prestige Estates. And boy, isn't it looking good. The sales are higher and total sales are up a close to around 19%. So a thumbs up on that one. I think the stock has taken off up to the high point of the day. Step into a short break, you come back, we'll continue discussing a whole host of stocks and we'll wind down the markets as well.
अभी तक मटेरियल आया नहीं?
पैसे नहीं है।
अच्छा।
यूप्रो कैपिटल का ग्रो एक्स ऐप है ना, अब आपको भी मिल सकती है नॉन स्टॉप बिजनेस करने की आजादी।
इतनी जल्दी?
कमाल की कार है ना, हमें ले लें क्या?
सर, कमाल की कार के लिए कमाल का पेट्रोल भी चाहिए, एकदम टॉप का, जो हमारे इंडिया में मिलता कहाँ है?
अरे सर, पर इंडियन ऑयल पे मिलता है। प्रीमियम कार्स के लिए इंडियन ऑयल ने बनाया है 100 ऑक्टेन वाला देश का सबसे प्रीमियम पेट्रोल, XP 100।
वाह, इंडियन ऑयल की बात ही कुछ और है।
इंडियन ऑयल, पहले इंडियन, फिर ऑयल।
Last month pottery
इसमें डीजे।
अरे यार, अगर हर महीने इंटरेस्ट मिलता रहे तो हर महीने कुछ इंटरेस्टिंग होना चाहिए कि नहीं? क्योंकि मेरा बैंक जो है वो मेरी तरह, सॉरी तुम्हारी तरह है, यंग एंड फ्रेंडली।
हमारी प्रार्थना होगी स्वीकार। Zedlak Premium Agarbatti and Dhoop, official prayer partner, Delhi Capitals.
A show that is unmatched.
We tell you stocks to watch out for and which sectors are impacted.
Thought-provoking.
SIPs are a very important part of asset allocation. If there is fair money available, it would be absolutely prudent to increase the SIP allocation.
And will give you maximum value for your money.
The energy mix in India is going to be more hybrid, and the portfolio will see monetization and strategic investments.
A masterclass with India's biggest market experts. Smart money at these times.
Powered by Bandhan Mutual Fund.
Welcome back. Well, as we speak, a couple of these sugar stocks actually are moving higher. Mayuresh, any view on them? Balrampur Chini, that stock has moved to the high point of the day. What's your view on the sugar stocks and any pick from there?
Afternoon, Nigel. So absolutely, I think if you look at the sugar prices globally, I think they have hit their peaks, Nigel, at this point of time. Large expectations that the Brazilian output might be muted at this point of time. Expecting again, from an Indian context, the total production numbers to be a little lower compared to the last sugar season itself. Consumption expected around 24-25 million tons, which means even with the carryover inventory of last year, the excess inventory this sugar season will be relatively lower. Now, two aspects here. One, I think hearing of some element of export cap that can probably come through on the sugar front. And second, I think all the political developments, a lot of state elections and general elections expected in March, April of next year. What happens in terms of the MSP and the FRP prices, whether they get capped, is something to be seen. The ethanol capacities are coming up for most sugar plants, I think, are in the positive direction. And therefore, on that count, specifically on the B-level ethanol that you're probably looking at 57, 58 rupees realization per liter, that incrementally adds to a lot of earnings with the added capacities coming through. Even with the sugar, I think the current prices that are going on and the underlying raw sugar prices as well will probably mean that the numbers will be relatively okayish on the sugar front itself. So yes, I think the momentum can probably continue with sugar, raw sugar prices probably hitting peaks at this juncture.
All right, momentum continues with the sugar space. In fact, sugar and rice, all things nice. That's the kind of moves that we're seeing there. But, you know, Mayuresh, I wanted your thoughts on the real estate space, mainly because as we were speaking, there were updates coming in from the fourth quarter from Prestige Estates. Total sales up 19% year on year, collections up 12%. A couple of their peers have done much better. Do you like any particular stock in this space? Do you like the space on the whole?
So, Nigel, as we speak, I'm in Bangalore at our head office, and I've been hearing a lot of news report in terms of how the real estate market is probably doing. Prestige, Sova being leaders in the Bangalore market and the South markets as well. I think the prices have gone sky high at this point of time, both for own properties and the rentals as well. And therefore, the kind of numbers that even Sova posted, numbers that Prestige has posted at this point of time, seems to be a very, very encouraging trend. The other element in terms of elevated interest rates at this point of time, maybe a lot of fence sitters might not be entering the market at this juncture. But I think the interest that is probably there, as I speak with a lot of people and meeting a lot of investors as well, I think the buoyancy is probably there. The only aspect that probably needs to be seen is the slowdown in the IT sector, because a lot of these South-based companies rely heavily in terms of the IT sector as a whole. And any perceived slowdown might actually drag earnings for the first half of the next financial year. Having said that, I think a few stocks, including the likes of DLF, have been outliers, so the momentum can very well continue. But a few of these real estate ancillaries, stocks like KEI as an example, where the outlook shared by the management, both in terms of volume and price growth, looks very, very robust. The margin performance looks very reasonable as well going forward. And with input cost inflation happening, it probably seems that even the return ratios and the earnings growth should sustain. So I think both on the EPS and RS rating on our own lens, this ancillary stock also probably looks at.
Mayuresh, thank you very much for joining in and for your time this Wednesday afternoon. Wrapping up today's trade, and it's turned out to be another very listless range